If I were to ask you to turn this video game into a tabletop game, would the first mechanic that comes to mind be a deck builder? Because the folks at Roxley thought it might be a really good idea to use that, and you know what? They were right. Super Motherload has you and up to 3 other players attempting to build an elite team of miners in a bid to hollow out Mars, all for its glorious valuable resources. Glorious valuable resources including iron, gold, platinum, emeralds, rubies, diamonds, bombs. Yeah, that's what we should be looking for on Mars. Gems and bombs, not flipping water. Why are you making a big fuss about water, eh? There's loads of it here. It's practically coming out the taps. Players all begin with 7 cards, 4 of which go into their hands straight away. Alongside this, they have their own personal market, depending on the faction they're using, to which they can bolster their ranks throughout the game. Oh my goodness, you can hire a dog! And a chicken. On their turn, players can do one of 3 things, the first of which being picking up 2 cards. Now, there's many ways you can do this, but what I like to do is put my thumb on the top part of the card, then my index and middle finger on the bottom of it, apply pressure, and then as I lift my arm, just flick it around and put it in my hand. You then repeat that process. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. I mean, you're your own person, you can figure this one out. I just realised by doing that I've gone over my hand limit, so I actually have to discard 1 card, so that was silly. The second thing you can do is drill, and you do this by playing any number of cards from your hand as long as they're the same colour. Let's say we play 2 red cards. We add up the drill icons in the top left and see we can drill through 2 squares. Now this can be 2 squares of dirt, or it could even be 2 squares of steel, as long as they're surrounded by red borders. If we drill through any resources, we get to take those and add them to any card of our choice. And if the value of those resources on that card matches or exceeds the value on the card itself, we get to add that to our deck for later. If you haven't played a deck builder before, the cards you buy and the cards you use all go in a discard pile, but once you run out of cards to draw from, you shuffle those up and create a new deck with them to draw from. Alternatively, if you lack patience or grace and just don't want to drill in a straight line, you can bomb as your third action, as long as you own some explosives. Each red card has a different shape on them, and if you decide to use that with a bomb, then you get to recreate that shape in the ground. As players dig deeper and deeper into Mars, they get to uncover new depths, which are filled with much more valuable items, such as diamonds that everyone's going to have a target on. The thing is, when these appear, everyone gets a bit excited, but also a tad uneasy. Every time you drill into the ground, yes, you get a bunch of lovely commodities, but you're also leaving it open for other players to snag even more valuable ones. Super Motherload isn't an aggressive game, seeing as every action you take on the board can lead to big opportunities for every other player. Rather, it feels very personal with the crew you're accumulating, all of which have various different abilities, but only you can utilise them, and they're only going to help you. There's a limited opportunity to screw anyone else over. It's a deck builder that focuses on your needs, your wants, and that's only reflected more in how you gather points. Much like in real life, success is valued by the amount of points you've accumulated, and you primarily get points by hiring people. Everyone has a set point value on them, which gets greater and greater the more money you chuck at them. This also lends into how you lay claim into major achievements. 3 major achievements are drawn at the start of the game, all worth 5 points, and force players into hiring a certain set of colours. If the purple faction were to obtain 3 yellows and 3 rainbow cards in their deck, then they get this achievement and this trophy to put in their inventory, which is worth 5 points, and that'll never be replenished. That's theirs to keep. Yay! They won't though, because they're doing terribly. So if this were the primary way of obtaining victory in Super Motherload, it would be little more than a slightly complicated race game, where you're trying to hoover up resources before anyone else can get to them. Everyone else's market is so open, and you don't really get the abilities to screw over with the complex machines they're trying to build, so there's not a lot of depth in player interaction there. However, it's something called minor achievements that causes the biggest influence in not allowing Super Motherload to get tunnel vision. God, you get it because you're digging tunnels. So these minor achievements are a set of goals that manage to... It's a flipping ridiculous idea. Minor achievements are smaller goals worth less points, but manage to make you rethink how you should be playing the game on the fly. Like major achievements, there are 3 of them to lay claim to. However, unlike major achievements, when someone takes one, they are then replaced by another. These minor achievements have a great amount of range to them, from hoarding 3 bombs to brute force drilling 5 spaces to spreading out gold amongst all your pilots to ensuring you have 9 cards in your hand to ensuring you have no cards in your hand. Whilst these achievements are worth a smaller amount of points, considering the fact that everybody is fighting for points for pilots, they're often the fact that they determine who wins the game. They're the small missions that test the optimization of the workforce you've been building the entire game. They're the tiny tasks that delve into mechanics of Super Motherload that you might not have even considered using beforehand. And if you manage to utilise these in ways that benefit you the best, you will be absolutely laughing. If you clicked on this video because you were looking for a deck builder to really sink your teeth into, I can't recommend Super Motherload. It plays with a lot of mechanics that, when put forward by themselves, don't really amount to much. If you're looking for a deck builder that launches from your hand onto a board, I can recommend the absolutely fantastic Trains.
Don't worry, buddy, we'll get to you soon.
But the reason why Super Motherload's deck building is so simple is because it doesn't have to be complicated. If it were any more complex, the whole game as a package just wouldn't work, and it feels good to mine down into Mars. It feels good to grab a bunch of commodities. It feels good to hire these pilots with absolutely extraordinary artwork, and it feels good to lay down a hand of perfect cards that you've accumulated through your absolutely astounding system and snatch away a bunch of achievements. If you're looking for a twist on your average deck builder, get it. And if you're sitting there going, yeah, it looks really good, Ben, but the box art looks a bit plain, so I might give it a miss, then please hold that thought. This month we'll see the release of the second edition of Super Motherload with brand new, polished, lovely, spanking box art to boot that's just as great as the game itself. This, on the other hand, still pretty overrated.